Hey, how you going? My name's Alicia and welcome to Soul in Balance. And in this video, I'm going to be going over natural beauty routines and how to be a timeless beauty. Now, with this video, I am not a beauty guru. I have no interest in being a beauty guru. I have no interest in people following me for this reason. I am just here sharing my experiences, from, studying a degree in natural medicine, from always choosing a natural approach, and what experiences I've had. Yeah, and I know that a lot of people that watch this might not agree, because a lot of what this video is going to be about is a natural alternative, and it kind of goes against what the mainstream medicine says, mainstream health and beauty says. So please be warned up front that I don't just follow the crowd. This is from my own experiences, and that some things I say might trigger people, but you don't have to take that on board. If you watch this video and you decide you like some of the things I do, implement them, and other things you don't, that's fine. Nobody has to do what I'm doing exactly. Every single person is different. Like we all have different skin, we all have different genes, we all have ways that we process our metabolism, the way we process food and nutrients. So please don't feel like whatever I say in this video is gospel and it works for everybody. This is just what works for me and what I've noticed throughout my journey. Now, I wanted to say, and a part of the reason why I'm doing this video is because I've noticed that a lot of people that make these natural beauty videos or natural routines for anti-aging and stuff like that are predominantly from Asian culture. And as we all know, Asians don't really age. They look young forever. Like even when they're 80, you'd think they're 30, So I thought that I would do a video from, like a Caucasian perspective, and that I'm 38, like a lot of people think that I'm 28 and always ask me what I do and like what are my tricks and what am I doing that they're not doing. And it's pretty much just as simple as just being natural, choosing the natural alternative, because from a young age chemicals didn't make sense to me, that we're having this for medicine or having this to put on our bodies. Like, we're told that alcohol is poisonous or things are dangerous and this is poisonous and we can't touch this. But then these things are also in our beauty products. So for me, it just didn't make sense, So this is kind of just like my journey and my routine for, what I do, because I get asked so often. So, I thought I would start with like body, like what I do for my skin and what oils and things I use, what routines and stuff like that. So I'm pretty white. I don't particularly go out in the sun too much. I like to, go out in the sun for like 10-15 minutes, but any more than that, I'll cover up. But the thing is, I don't use traditional sunscreens. Now, I did when I was younger, but I do not anymore. Like at the moment, I use Eco by Sonia. And this is a natural coconut sunscreen with zinc. Now, my reason for that is the titanium dioxide that's in sunscreens. And there's many other harsh chemicals that are really bad for you, that are carcinogenics, cause cancer. But one that really always stood out for me was the titanium dioxide, which is, it corrodes the skin. It's a corroder, so why we're putting it on our skin, and it causes cancer, it causes lung issues, it causes inflammation of the joints in the stomach, it causes so many issues. And, I know when I was younger and I put on sunscreen and I just feel so suffocated. I feel like I couldn't breathe, but I'm super sensitive. Like I feel absolutely everything. So just for me, I think it's very important to get sun. But it's also very important what you put on your skin, and also like we live in a culture where, everyone wears sunnies, but we need certain angles from the sunlight to hit our retina that then produces chemicals. So we have a natural, a sunscreen, you know, and natural medicine do not support this, but many of those mainstream medicine don't support this, but a lot of people in natural medicine support this, and they've seen this in findings, you know, because as we can see, you know, we're getting more and more skin cancer, and we're using hats and sunnies and sunscreen and 50% plus sunscreen, but there's more cancer than ever. So, you know, we can see that it doesn't really make sense. So for me, you know, I think it's important that we get sun at least 10-15 minutes a day. But then, you know, if you're going to be out in the sun, make sure your eyes can see, you know, you can get that glare from the sun going into your retina, so then you can produce chemicals and, you know, oils that will help protect your skin as well. But if you are looking at just for anti-aging stuff, you really kind of want to stay out of the sun. So as you would probably know if you've watched any Asian videos on anti-aging, or if you go out anywhere, always people from Asian cultures always have a hat on. always. And, you know, I do believe that that's quite significant. So I always wear a hat as soon as I go outside. Like, I exercise every day at the lake, and I always have a hat on, and I have a huge hat, like so embarrassing. I'll show you. Like, it literally covers all my face from every single angle, and I really don't even care how I look, because do you know what I mean? I don't want to get all those extra wrinkles from, you know, just the sun pelting on my face. But that's just me. You don't have to be like that. If you're a massive sun baby and you love being out in the sun, that's completely fine. But this is more just for the people that do want to look a little bit younger when they get older. But yes, so that's for that in that sense. Now, I think what's really important as you get older is exfoliating and what you put on your skin, you know. So in the shower every day I use this. So it's just like the rubber like knobs, and then we also have like the bristles, and I just do like everywhere every time I have a shower. Now, when you're younger, like when you're in your 20s or maybe mid-30s, early 30s, you probably won't have to do that. But I feel like as you get older, the dry skin accumulates, and I feel like, you know, when you don't do anything about that, that's when, you know, things look a little bit worse as you get older, when you get into your 50s and 60s. So for me, I kind of, I exfoliate every day, and I also use this one, which is that sea loafer, which this is the one I use on my face, and I do this about 3 times a week. It is a little bit coarse, but I like to like heavily exfoliate. Everybody's skin's different. Again, you will have to do what suits you. But it's just, it's just a really beautiful, refreshing feeling, because it is natural, you know, like, and I do feel like it makes a massive difference, you know, instead of having all this buildup of skin, which then makes wrinkles look more predominant. So yes, and then when I get out of the shower, I use just straight olive oil every day. Now, I'm sure nobody wants a olive oil bottle sitting around for their moisturizer. So what you can do is just get a really nice jar or something to put it in. And this is what I use. And my skin is just always soft, you know, always soft, and it just feels great. And what's really good about olive oil, it's really good for killing bacteria as well. And it's, you know, really good for your immune system. And if we think about it, our skin is our largest organ, and it's the first organ of defense. And a lot of people just put on like supermarket brands or any like, you know, really expensive moisturizers with perfumes and parabens and, you know, an array of chemicals you can't even pronounce, and you're putting that on your body, and your skin absorbs that, and they go straight to your liver, you know. And not only, and it has alcohol as well, so not maybe it smells nice, but it's also drying out your skin in the long term. You're having a chemical dump in your body, and, you know, and then the body has to do so much work that it has no time to repair itself. And, you know, this is how we stay looking young. So definitely, you know, throw out stuff from like the supermarket or department stores, or moisturizers that have more than one chemical, you know, that have like literally, if it has more than one, you don't want it on your body. And, you know, there's other things that I also use, like I make my own rose hip oil. So literally you just get rose hips, Obviously you clean them, put them in a bag and crush them, and then you go get your favorite oil. I personally use rice bran oil, and then you just put it in a jar and you just boil it for like 9 hours, and then you strain it all out. And you want to get all the little bits because rose hips have these little spiky like needles in them, so you want to make sure you get all that out. But it's just such a beautiful oil, and you can make it yourself. And yeah, so I use olive oil, I use rosehip oil, I also use castor oil, and I also use coconut oil. And all of those I use on my body. Oh, actually, and African shea butter. So if you go to your African salon, where people do like dreadlocks or extensions and stuff like that, or braids, this is really good for like your elbows and your knees and your hair and stuff like that. So African shea butter is amazing. But yes, now another thing I also wanted to mention for when we're in the shower is to use natural soaps. Now, again, people want nice fragrances. They want the newest liquid that just smells like strawberries and ice cream and all those types of things. But again, these things aren't good for you. So that's why going through natural bars of soap. So my cousin made this. It's a lavender soap. And then also on the top here is a charcoal. And then another soap that I also use, which isn't really a soap, but it's Himalayan salt block. Now this is really good. So like if I get like pimples on my chest or a rash or something like that, I will use this salt block. So it's really, really great for, you know, getting rid of pimples and drying them out in a more natural way, because nothing can live on salt. No bacteria can live on salt, but then it's also not really drying like all the alcohols and things that we use that are in, you know, beauty products. So definitely if you want to change things up, like for your shower, you really want to get yourself some good loafers. You want to get yourself some, you know, natural cleaning products, and that also includes hair care as well and face care. You know, you really want to be getting products like shampoo and conditioners that don't have all the sulfur products, all the parabens, all the perfumes. You want to be getting like completely natural. Like I don't know what they will have in your country, but like in Australia we have like Sunscreen and stuff like that, where it's all just natural products and oils. It's really, really beautiful. But yes, and another thing that is also really important is deodorants. Now, using deodorants that are in the supermarkets, predominantly most of them have aluminium. Now, aluminium, you know, blocks the lymph nodes, and this is what also causes breast cancer and many, many, many other issues. So our lymph nodes, they collect all the toxins and they release them. So then if we're putting on our deodorants full of aluminium and all these other chemicals, we're just locking that in there. So the body's natural defense, the body's way to excrete chemicals and toxins, isn't able to work properly, and then that goes and stores in the breast tissue. So we really want to be using natural deodorants, and it is a process of trial and error, like depending on how much you sweat. And you know, you'll go through stages where you'll buy one and then it doesn't work in another time and you'll buy something else. So you really need to change it up. I use Thursday Plantation, the tea tree one, because I feel like that is the one that lasts the longest for me. We do have ones like, you know, the Crystal Roll-On deodorant. I haven't felt that they work too well. Like if it's like winter and I'm not really sweating, ones like this are good. But I found like the best one has definitely been the tea tree. Definitely. But yes, and another thing, in case anybody was interested, what's also really good is for like if anybody gets like spider veins or varicose veins and things like that, is to get cups. Now what I do, you don't have to do this. I use an oil that I make, which is pine needles, it's thuya and many other things that kind of help with circulation. So I'll put this on my legs and then do cupping. So this helps move varicose veins, it helps move cellulite, and I also use it in conjunction with infrared light. So this also gets the blood to the surface and then moves things out, moves the impurities and gets things moving like stagnant blood and stuff like that. So give it a go. And yes, everything that I've mentioned, please go research it yourself. Like, don't just take my word for things. Like, I'm not somebody that, you know, says, hey, follow me, what I'm doing is gospel. Everybody should do their own research and do what resonates with them and what works, what's best for them. But this has definitely worked for me, for getting rid of little spider veins or cellulite or things like that, if you want to go to that extent. Okay, now we're going to get into face anti-aging, face beauty, and facial kind of routine that I use. Now, my first and foremost best friend, and it will be yours too, is the infrared light. Now, I use this 20 minutes most mornings, and this kind of just gets all the blood to the surface, and which helps heals things, you know, and it also helps with acne as well. So if you have acne, this will help kill the bacteria on the surface of the skin. So it is really, really fantastic. And what I use in conjunction with this is also this massage gun. Now, I use it on the highest setting, which is the fastest one. But if you use the slowest setting, it's like chunky, it's like, but I use it on the fastest setting, but I do it really lightly. And the thing is when we get older, we're using muscles, and when we get older, those muscles get stressed and tired, and you know, like, and then there's more tension, and that's when we can see those wrinkles forming. So what's really good with the massage gun is we're massaging those wrinkles, you know, so they're not so tight, so they're not so stressed. And you know, I also do up the top of my head because it's all connected, and I do my jaw and then under my eye, and like where I'm starting to get wrinkles is here, and then the 11's here. So what I am doing is I'm actually pushing the fat kind of closer because, and then also pushing it up, but then also finding like how the facial muscles work, and then releasing the tension from those muscles, because that's where we see more lines and more pulling, because we're using these muscles more and more and more. And when there's tension there, that's when it pulls even more. So a long time ago, I got Botox once because I was, you know, hanging around with the whole heap of people that were doing it, and I thought, oh, I'll go try it. And yeah, it lasted 3 months, and it was terrible. Like, I got it for here, like the 11 lines, and even when I was going there, I felt sick. Even when I was sitting in the chair, even when I left, like the whole thing about it just felt wrong. And you know, the guy that was doing it, like, he didn't use Botox, and it just kind of thought, ooh, if you're administering it, if this is something you do, why aren't you using it, you know? And yeah, and then I've realized that, like, so here stopped moving. Well, not much, because it was a very, very low dose. But I've noticed that like, because the muscles couldn't move, the energy had to go somewhere. So I would feel like all these like pulsations of energy running through, and then it would go through my whole body where I'd have like nervous jolts. And then because I wasn't using here, then here started to move more, you know, and then I started to get wrinkles here. So I just want to say, you know, there's nothing wrong with using like Botox and things like that, but I feel like you're stealing the youth from tomorrow. You're not fixing a problem, and if anything, I think you're making it worse. But that's my opinion. I don't really want to be attacked by, you know, like a million people that, you know, that love Botox. If you love Botox, that's really great. But my experience was negative. You know, like, yeah, I had a completely, you know, soft forehead and there was no wrinkles, but it came at a price. You know, so, you know, each to their own, but that's just what I want to say from my experiences is that I would never use that again, and I wouldn't recommend anyone do it, because I feel like everything works in conjunction with each other, and you know, what we can do is, you know, fix it, which is relaxing the muscles, which is, you know, like getting blood to the area, massaging the face, you know, relieving tension, getting tension out of our lives. And I found like the most biggest thing for 11 lines was lying on my side and looking at my phone. And especially if the phone's down, you're like squinting and you're going like that, you know. So there's little things like that, like yeah, I think people in today's society are just really interested in like a quick fix. And, you know, a quick fix isn't always the answer. So what I do now is I get, you know, like physio tape or kinesiology tape, you know, things that they use when you get like massages or you go to the physio. So what I do is I cut pieces of the physio tape, and then I will get like some shea butter and then put a blob, say, on my forehead, and then stick one here, and then I will stick one here where I have the wrinkles from getting the Botox here. And then I go to bed and I leave it at night and I wake up and there's no wrinkles. You know, that's what I do, you know. And, you know, there's natural alternatives for everything, you know, that don't have side effects. So, and then in the morning, that's when I do my infrared or, you know, massage my face. But yeah, and then also just like what I said with the sunscreen, I only use natural sunscreen. It's the same one, Eco Sonia, which is coconut sunscreen, which is made out of zinc. And this is one's for your face, and it's skin tone. And yes, it's not as good as, you know, like a pharmaceutical one or a, you know, a beauty product one you get from the shopping center or a department store, you know, like this is more oily and it's not as nice. But at the end of the day, you can find ones that are nicer. They are quite expensive, but again, it's trial and error. Like everything with natural, I think it's very much trial and error. People do the best they can to make good products, but ultimately you'll find what works best for you. But for me, I would rather, you know, like have, you know, look a little bit oily while I'm out exercising than putting something that's corrosive on my skin or something that causes cancer or something that's going to make me look older in the long run, you know. So, but that's just my opinion. Now, a lot of girls use hyaluronic acid. Now, I got this from France. I've only used it 1 or 2 times, but the thing is, what they don't tell you about hyaluronic acid is it steals your youth from tomorrow, you know, like, and I feel like this is the same with drinking alcohol, you know, like you're stealing your happiness from tomorrow, because that's why you're so happy when you're drinking, because the next day you're not happy. That's just my analogy. But, you know, like with hyaluronic acid, like if you live in a really dry, cold like area, like in Australia, in Melbourne, it's very dry. It's a very dry heat. It's not like northern Queensland in Australia where it's like very humid and there's a lot of moisture. Here's very dry. So if you're using hyaluronic acid and there's not enough moisture for it to absorb, it's going to absorb the moisture from the body, which is then going to make you look older. So, you know, I would say to stay away from products that use hyaluronic acid and use something like a plant-based glycerin. And that's what I use. So I use it in like a little bit, like a little spritzer. So I've got some rose quartz in here, and I've got rose water. And, you know, I'll spray this on my face instead. And then, you know, to get that more plump look, if that's what I'm wanting, like if I'm feeling a bit like, you know, not too good, you know how we have those dried out days, I will probably use this instead of, you know, like the pharmaceutical hyaluronic acid or any products that have hyaluronic acid in it. But yes, another thing I also do is cupping. So I'll put whatever oil I want on my face, whether it's rose hip or castor oil or just olive oil, and then do cupping. Now I've done a video on cupping. It's really, really great, so I suggest you go check that out if you want to learn a little bit more about cupping. And also what I do is I don't use what's it called again? I don't use like micellar water or any of those makeup removers. Like my auntie every year buys me this like Lancome pack with all, like, you know, all these fancy stuff, and literally I use makeup removers. So like I usually will write a quote in red lipstick on my mirror, something that I want to kind of work on for the month, and then I'll use like that like, you know, department store or supermarket brand, whatever makeup remover to get the lipstick off. I don't put this stuff on my face ever. If you really want to, you know, find something good to use, you don't want anything with alcohol, anything with chemicals to get makeup off. I personally use orange blossom water. I have made a video on how to make this yourself if you want to make this, or you can just go to the international store. So I use this to get makeup off, and it's really funny, like now makeup's very thick and very strong. Like when I was younger, like 2018 and that, Like, it was easy to get your makeup off. Like, now with like those long stay lipsticks and all that mascara and everything, things just don't come off. And I understand that's why people use that micellar water, an expensive brand, or like, you know, high chemical brands to get their makeup off. But we don't need to do that. We can use oils, like we can use castor oil if something's being a bit stubborn to come off, or we can use orange blossom water. Now, after that, I would use rose water, because rose water is a really great toner. But you want to get these products that don't have preservatives. So you want to make sure that it's just the rose water or it's just the orange blossom water. If it's got preservatives in it, you don't want it. You know, you really don't want that stuff in your body, because your body just can't break it down. But yes, another thing I also use once a week is Tretinoin. Now, this is a synthetic vitamin A, and a lot of women do use this. They use it every day, and they use the 1%, which is quite strong. I use this once a week just as an exfoliant. When I did use this a little bit more, I felt that it dried out my skin. So I definitely only use it once a week. And even one like this French brand, A313, which is like a retinol, like I'll only do these things once a week. Sometimes I even forget, like it'll be months down the track and I've only, you know, used it once. But all in all, everything is just quite natural, and I think it's the best way to be. Like, when you get too involved with you know, things for a quick fix is where we run into problems. And this is where I kind of also want to talk about vitamins and what we're eating and stuff like that. So the vitamins that I use are really great, actually, especially a lot with collagen and stuff like that. So I use, I have smoothie every morning, and I use collagen peptides, but I've also mixed this with gelatin. So gelatin also helps heal like your gut lining. So if you have leaky gut syndrome or stuff like that, helps with your joints, helps with your hair, skin, and nails. Like my nails, I've actually got like long nails on my own, not from fake nails or anything like that, literally just on my own. It's helped my hair grow as well. So collagen's really great, but you want to make sure you're getting collagen that's like organic and, you know, not from animals or things like that that are being you know, injected with growth hormones and pesticides and antibiotics, because then they're given the wrong food. They're given like corn. Cows don't eat corn, they eat grass, you know, and baby calves are being fed blood and guts when they should just be getting milk from their mother. So these cows, and they're living in constant stress. So you really don't want to be ingesting anything that's come from that kind of environment. So you really want to look for something that's organic, that's grass fed as best as you can. You can never really tell what companies are lying and what are not. But I just feel like when you make a conscious effort, that's what's also really important. So yeah, I put this in my smoothie every day. I also use silica and tissue salts. So if you want to get into like looking at tissue salts, and this is all kind of works with like homeopathy, a lot of say like wrinkles or like a gaunt face or, you know, wrinkles here, things like that, they're all relating to some kind of salt or mineral deficiency. So if you find things like Carlifos or Nat Mur or Silica or some kind of tissue salt, these also help with, you know, the face looking more plump and more full and not seeing those dark wrinkles or dark circles under your eyes. Also a lot of salt. So you want to get a lot of like Himalayan salt. Like that's why I've got like my salt in this container now. So it's just like like we literally don't have enough salt. Like we're told in like with all like the health concepts in the media and the medical industry not to have salt. And this is because we don't want to be having table salt, the man-made refined table salt, which is really bad for you. And, you know, there's a lot of scientific people that say, oh, it's the same chemical compounds, there's no difference. Well, actually there really is. So definitely make sure you're having about 2 tablespoons of Himalayan salt a day. Because the thing is, salt helps absorb moisture. So if you don't have enough salt, you're not absorbing that moisture, so you can look a lot older. Your skin can look really dried out. So make sure you're having enough salt in your diet. But if you're scared about, you know, adding more Himalayan salt to your diet, then try things like tissue salts, because, you know, like, they're less invasive. They're using homeopathy, which is really tiny microbes of, you know, what you need to create change. I don't know if you know much about homeopathy, but yeah, it's really great. And just some other simple herbs that I use for looking younger is saw palmetto. Now this is, yeah, just really great for, you know, keeping looking young and rejuvenating the skin. Also NAC or glutathione. We also want to be having like a vitamin E and a good vitamin E, but we want it to be having, you know, 2 types of vitamin E. So we want it to have like the alpha, oh, I can't even pronounce it, and yes, the beta one as well. So we want to have, we want to get a good vitamin E. We don't want to get the cheap, nasty one. A lot of the herbs I buy are on iHerb, or through like through a wholesaler. You don't really want to be getting supermarket brands. You kind of want to, you know, be getting good products. So yeah, definitely. And then also like a really good vitamin B complex. That's also really great. But what else was I going to say? Yeah, and zinc. So I get like a liquid zinc through Metagenics, which you'll probably have to get through a natural therapist practitioner. And also vitamin C, like a good quality vitamin C. You don't really want to be getting a vitamin C that's GMO. Like, you want to get like GMO-free vitamin C. And yeah, magnesium is super, super important. And you want to get a liquid magnesium, because magnesium doesn't have a good bioavailability, which means the body doesn't absorb it very well. And so we want to get like a liquid or a powder form, because the thing is with magnesium, when we have magnesium, we're less stressed, because when we're stressed, we produce cortisol and all the stress hormones, which then create aging. And that's why it's really great to have magnesium. It's also really great to have withania. This is also going to help relax you so you get enough sleep. Not getting enough sleep also ages you as well. So it's really important to get enough sleep and be relaxed as much as possible. Also, another thing with my skin that I do use, but if you have this problem, I like for hormonal stuff, because of all our, like, what the foods that we eat, which causes bad estrogen, which affects our hormones. And then, you know, there's so much plastic and everything that also affects our hormones. Stress affects our hormones, maybe our diet, whatever it is. And then, you know, we have a hormone imbalance. So for me, I have iodine and selenium. So I have this in my morning routine. So this will stop you getting also those hormonal pimples as well. But you want to do your research on that. You want to go see a therapist. Like in Australia, you can go to the Lucy Rose Clinic, and they specialize in things like with the thyroid that will help you, you know, like, but I use myself Lugol's formula, which is 10% potassium iodine and 10% potassium iodide and 5% iodine. Now I put like 9 drops daily with a whole shot of this, the selenium, and they need to go together. So this will help activate the iodine. Iodine's also really good for like just boosting your immune system and killing bacteria and stuff like that. So iodine on itself is great, but you want to have it with selenium if it's got to do with hormonal stuff. But you'd really need to see somebody about that. But yeah, that's about it, guys. But please research that stuff. If you have any questions, I'm happy to you know, answer them or help you and send you into the right direction, or give you some links. But please go natural. You know, it's really sad that in our society there's so many women that are getting like, you know, lip injections and all these surgeries and all this type of stuff, and they're 18 years old, you know, like, or they're getting their teeth done and getting like veneers. It's just like, it's just crazy. Like, there's so much emphasis on looking perfect, and, you know, the older you get, you realize that's just not important. It's how you feel inside, you know, not on the outside, but the outside definitely matters. But you know, like, yeah, I just thought I'd make this video because I just thought it was good to have some kind of information out there, because this is something I'm super passionate about, like super passionate about looking young and super passionate about natural alternatives and, you know, just feeling our best and, you know, just aging in a really timeless and graceful way, you know. But yeah, guys, that's it for me. I hope that was helpful. And yeah, if you want any more videos on specific things, I'm happy to do them. But yeah, just leave it in the comments. All right, thank you. Bye.